Here's something most people don't realize about their legs. By the time you actually feel that heaviness, that tingling, those cold feet at night, it's already been building for years, quietly, in the background. And most people just chalk it up to getting older and never think about it again. I want to challenge that idea right at the start of this video because it's simply not accurate. Poor circulation in your legs isn't some inevitable tax you pay for getting older. It's not a life sentence. It's actually one of the most responsive systems in your entire body, meaning what you eat starting today can genuinely change how your legs feel. Not overnight, but faster than you'd think. Now, I do want to be honest with you because that's what this channel's about. Yes, your blood vessels do change with age. They can lose some of their natural flexibility over time. That's just biology, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. But here's the part that gets left out of that conversation. How much that affects you, how it feels day to day, how it shows up in your energy and your mobility, that part is much more in your hands than you've been told. Circulation is a use it, feed it, support it system. And food is one of the most powerful levers you have. So today, we're going deep into the top 5 foods that support healthy leg circulation. The ones that show up again and again when you look at what actually helps blood flow, vein health, and that warm, energized feeling in your legs instead of that heavy, achy, why do my legs feel like this feeling? We're going to count them down, from good all the way up to the one that surprised me when I really dug into it. The one most people have sitting in their kitchen right now and have no idea it's doing this much for their legs. That one's coming later in the video, so stick around for it. Before we get into it, I want to ask you something, and I'd love if you actually answered in the comments. Not because it helps the channel, though it does, but because this is genuinely more useful when we know who's watching. So tell me, do your legs ever feel heavy or achy by the end of the day? Do you notice your feet get cold more than they used to? Just drop your age in a quick yes or no. It helps me know what to cover more of, and honestly, it helps other people scrolling through the comments realize they're not the only ones dealing with this. Because that's really what this comes down to. Your legs are how you get to your grandkids' soccer games. They're how you walk the dog in the morning, how you get up from the couch without thinking twice about it, how you travel, how you stay independent in your own home for as long as possible. When your circulation is working well, you don't really notice it. You just feel good. It's only when it starts slipping that you realize how much you were relying on it. So this isn't really a video about food, not underneath it. It's a video about staying in your own 2 legs, literally, for the decades ahead. The good news is, the foods that help with this aren't exotic, they're not expensive, and you don't need a prescription for any of them. You just need to know which ones actually matter and why. Let's get into number 5. Number 5. Beets. I know, beets aren't exactly everyone's favorite, but stick with me, because the mechanism here is genuinely fascinating. Beets are rich in natural compounds called nitrates, and here's a simple version of what they do. Your body converts those nitrates into something called nitric oxide, which is essentially a signal that tells your blood vessels to relax and widen. Think of it like a garden hose. If the hose is kinked or narrow, the water trickles out slowly. Nitric oxide basically uncoils that hose so blood can move through more freely all the way down to your legs and feet. Research into nitrate-rich vegetables has consistently pointed to improved blood flow and even better exercise endurance in the legs specifically, which makes sense because your leg muscles are working against gravity all day just to keep blood moving back up to your heart. Nutrition scientists generally recommend getting nitrates from whole food sources like beets, rather than supplements, since the whole vegetable comes with fiber and other compounds that seem to work together. Practically speaking, you don't need to eat a mountain of beets. Roasted, in a salad, even in a smoothie if you're feeling adventurous, a few servings a week is a very reasonable place to start. If the taste really isn't for you, leafy greens like spinach and arugula are also naturally high in those same nitrate compounds. Number 4. Fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines. The mechanism here is about inflammation. As we age, low-grade inflammation in the blood vessels can make them stiffer and less responsive, less able to expand and contract the way healthy vessels do. Omega-3 fatty acids, which fatty fish are loaded with, appear to help calm that inflammatory response and support the flexibility of your blood vessel walls. Picture your veins and arteries like a rubber hose versus an old, dried-out garden hose. You want the flexible one, and omega-3s seem to help keep them that way. Studies looking at omega-3 intake have found associations with healthier blood vessel function and improved circulation markers over time. It's not an overnight fix. This is more of a slow, steady, what you build over months and years kind of food. But it adds up. A realistic target that many nutrition experts point to is a couple of servings of fatty fish per week. If fish isn't your thing, walnuts and flaxseed are solid plant-based sources of similar compounds, though the research on fish-based omega-3s tends to be stronger. Number 3. Citrus fruits. Oranges, grapefruit, lemons. This one's about the walls of your veins themselves. Citrus fruits are rich in vitamin C and plant compounds called flavonoids, and together they play a role in strengthening the collagen that makes up the structure of your vein walls. If beets are about opening the hose, think of this one as reinforcing the hose itself, making sure it stays sturdy and doesn't sag or weaken over time, which is part of what leads to that heavy, achy feeling in the legs, especially after standing a lot. Research on flavonoids has specifically linked them to improved vein tone and reduced feelings of heaviness and swelling in the legs. It's genuinely one of the more well-supported connections in this whole list. It's common for people who add more citrus into their regular routine to notice their legs feeling a little less puffy or heavy by the end of the day within a few weeks. Nothing dramatic, just a gradual, that feels better kind of shift. A piece of fruit with breakfast, citrus segments in a salad, even starting your morning with warm water and lemon. Small, easy additions that add up. Notice a pattern here? None of these are complicated. None of them require a special trip to some specialty health store. They're sitting in regular grocery stores. And honestly, some of them might already be in your kitchen right now. That's kind of the whole point. The things that actually move the needle for your legs are almost always simpler than people expect. We've got 2 more foods to go, and I promise you, the next one especially is going to surprise you. All right, number 2, garlic. Now here's the mechanism, and it's a good one. Garlic contains a compound called allicin. It's actually what gives garlic that strong smell when you cut into it. And allicin has been studied for its effects on blood vessel relaxation. Similar in spirit to what we talked about with beets, but through a different pathway. It also appears to have a mild effect on keeping blood from becoming overly sticky, which matters because thicker, stickier blood has a harder time making that long journey down to your legs and back up again against gravity. Research on garlic and cardiovascular health has been going on for decades at this point. And one of the more consistent findings is its association with healthier blood pressure and improved blood vessel flexibility. And when your blood pressure and vessel flexibility are in a good range, your circulation, all the way down to your toes, tends to benefit. Practically, you don't need garlic supplements or anything fancy. A clove or 2 cooked into your meals most days is a very reasonable and realistic goal. Some people like to have it raw, crushed into a bit of olive oil. That's a more intense approach, and it's honestly not for everyone, so don't feel like you need to go that route. Cooked into a stir fry, roasted with vegetables, stirred into a sauce, that's plenty. Okay, number 1. This is the one I told you about at the beginning, the one that surprised me the most. Water. I know what you might be thinking. That's not a food. And also, I already know I should drink water. But stay with me for a second, because I don't think most people understand just how directly this connects to leg circulation specifically. Here's the mechanism. Blood is mostly water. When you're even mildly dehydrated, and a lot of people are more often than they realize, especially as thirst signals naturally become less reliable with age, your blood actually becomes thicker, more concentrated, and thicker blood is harder to pump, especially down through the smaller vessels in your lower legs and feet, the ones furthest from your heart and most dependent on strong, efficient blood flow to get nutrients where they need to go. Think about it like this. Water that's clear and flowing moves easily through a pipe. Syrup does not. Mild dehydration nudges your blood a little closer to that syrup end of the spectrum, and your legs, being the farthest outpost from your heart, often feel it first. That heavy, sluggish feeling by the end of the day? For a lot of people, it's partly just simple, unglamorous dehydration. If this is helpful so far, hitting that like button genuinely helps this reach other people who are dealing with the exact same thing and just haven't found this information yet. It only takes a second, and it makes a real difference for a small channel like this one. Research on hydration and circulation has consistently pointed to this exact relationship, even mild fluid loss measurably affecting blood viscosity and how efficiently it moves through the body. And here's the encouraging part. Unlike some of the other items on this list, this is something you can start correcting within the same day. A general, sensible target that many health professionals point to is somewhere around 8 cups of water a day, adjusted for your body, your activity level, and your climate. And if you're someone who forgets to drink water throughout the day, that's incredibly common, and there's a simple fix for that I want to walk you through. Because knowing you should drink more water and actually doing it consistently are two very different things. And that gap is exactly where most people get stuck. So let's talk about that gap, the space between knowing you should drink more water and actually doing it. Because I don't think the problem is information. Most people already know water matters. The problem is that plain water can be easy to forget, especially once your daily routine is already full. A few things that genuinely seem to help. First, keep a water bottle somewhere you'll actually see it. Not in a cabinet, but on your kitchen counter, by your favorite chair, next to your bed. Visibility does a lot of the work that willpower can't. Second, a lot of people find it easier to anchor drinking water to something they already do. A glass with your morning coffee, a glass before each meal, a glass when you take any regular medication. You're not adding a new habit from scratch, you're just attaching it to one that already exists. And third, if plain water genuinely doesn't appeal to you, a slice of lemon or cucumber or even herbal tea still counts. This isn't about being rigid, it's about consistency over perfection. And here's why I saved this for last, why this was the open loop from the very beginning of the video. Water isn't flashy. It's not a superfood, it doesn't have a dramatic backstory. Nobody's going to be impressed if you tell them you drank more water today. But out of everything on this list, it's the one thing that touches every single other one. Beets, fatty fish, citrus, garlic, all of that good work you're doing gets carried through your body by your blood, and your blood needs water to actually do that job well. You can eat perfectly and still feel that heaviness in your legs if you're walking around mildly dehydrated most days. This is the foundation everything else sits on. Here's what I really want you to take from this video, underneath all the specific foods. Your legs carrying you through your life, down the stairs, through the grocery store, up to hug your grandkids, on a walk with someone you love. That's not something that just happens to you as you get older. It's something you actively support. One meal, one glass of water, one small choice at a time. That's not pressure. That's actually really good news, because it means you're not just waiting to see what happens. You get a say in this. Now, a quick, honest note before we close, because this matters to me. Everything in this video is general information, not personal medical advice. Circulation issues can sometimes point to something that needs an actual doctor's attention, especially if you're noticing significant swelling, pain, or changes in skin color. So please, if something feels off or you're thinking about making any bigger changes to your diet or routine, run it by your doctor first. They know your history. I don't. This video is meant to add to that conversation, not replace it. And that's really the heart of everything we do here. Small, honest steps taken consistently so you get to keep doing the things and being with the people that matter most to you. Take care of your legs today so they can keep taking care of you tomorrow. If this helped you even a little, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Share this with someone in your life who's always complaining about heavy, achy legs. This might be exactly what they need to hear. And down in the comments, let me know which one of these 5 you're going to try first. I'll see you in the next one.